Livestream 420, where we discuss anything you want to discuss, anything you feel like talking about. I feel like talking about as well. Meantime, it's been a while since I've just sat in front of the camera and bullshitted. So let's bullshit. Let's let's do that. I took a bunch of notes and I was going to make a live stream with video. Um, about stuff in general. I mean, I have a lot of interesting stuff that I want to share with you guys, but I also don't. It's also like a lot of it is very private, very specific shit. Um, I haven't I haven't used my guitar as much as I would like to, but then if I don't use it, it's because I don't want to. So I got to be honest with myself and say to myself, "Well, I'm not playing guitar as much, anymore." Because I've been, if you've been watching my channel, I've been working most of all on Dungeons and Dragons, which has been my fascination. And last few games, I've been kind of disappointed in myself as a master. I don't, I like to think that when I make a game of Dungeons and Dragons, I take people into sacred spaces of their own existential dread. Um, but I haven't. And I haven't because I've been very linear in my storytelling. Like last game last night was just, using a module that is very old and, a module that is very old and well known, Chateau d'Amberville, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the existential, the dreadful, powerfully weird stories that I envision myself being able to make through the medium of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, I compare myself a lot with Critical Role, and I don't have Critical Role. I don't have that. I'm a totally different type. I mean, Matt Mercer is the guy to follow, right? Matt Mercer is the top Dungeons and Dragons, the dungeon master, bar none. Followed closely second by Brendan Mulligan. Uh, and in order of appearance, I mean, obviously, um, you go with the people that you admire most. I certainly that's the place to go to on Dungeons and Dragons, um, and that's what I'm trying to do. Obviously, we've been playing Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu. Um, Here's my character Robin McLeod. I mean, but you've guys seen those games, and although they're fun and they're interesting, and I make interesting characters, I make interesting PCs and NPCs and shit. It's time to shake up a little bit the old noggin and try to just talk about whatever it is that we need to talk about, which in fact is nothing. There's nothing to talk about, really. If you really think about it in the deeper sense, there's nothing to talk about, nothing to share. I'm just dumping on you guys in a sense, but I'm not. I'm also just, an old man sharing his life with whoever you are out there. And smoking a joint with you guys to see where we go. What do we do? What are we doing? What are we doing today? What are you doing today, by the way? Who are you? Leave your message, share, like, subscribe, the whole thing. Sounds so ridiculous, isn't it? But in fact, it's not. It's just, look, that's 100 pesos, man. That's nothing. But I got weed. I haven't had weed for a while, so I finally get to smoke a little bit. What I do have is a lot of mushrooms. I have, maybe I do some mushrooms today. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's what I'm needing to. I did a mushroom thing the other day, just um, a handful of mushrooms. I didn't film it because there was nothing to film. It was just, mushrooms. It was just a mushroom moment. There's nothing to report. And there were not enough mushrooms to really get me going. Yes? You have something about mushrooms? Amita. There were not enough mushrooms to say hi. Look, here you are. This is the camera. You can say hi. Say hi. You see yourself? My cat. My cat. I torture my cat all day long. And she likes it. Weird cats. Where was I? Mushrooms. So I did a little mushroom thing. No big deal. Not a microdose. It was a good dose, but it was not enough to really take off. Not sure if I'm ready to take off. That's why I haven't done it. And I hadn't had weed in a while, so I needed to, I needed to do something about that, which I did. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll up all the joints, see how many joints I get out of my 100 pesos. And yeah, just generally speaking, what is there to talk about? What is there to share about? The mom, I mean, there she is in her little box over there. Talk to her often. And she comes. Okay. Remember the best. And forgive the worst. Trying to be at peace with myself and with everybody I love. Trying to dream. I've had some very lucid dreams lately. Some very lucid dreams. I had one about my uncle, which I actually caught in a video right after I did it. And last night, see, poltergeist. And last night I had another one where I was actually investigating a multiple murder with my sister, of all people, I think. We were in LA, somewhere in Mid Wilshire, or Miracle Mile thereabouts, in a big, huge apartment building down by Mid Wilshire in LA, and it was a beautiful place with fountains, rocks, and one of those fancy upscale apartments for rich people. And we were in the middle of a police investigation with lots of cops, Mexican cops, which was kind of weird. It was like a lot of Mexican cops, and we were part of that investigation. I don't know if we were witnesses but we were actually looking at the body and saying, yeah, this could have happened like this, and like a chapter of CSI, CSI Los Angeles. But I was in the middle of it, and my sister was with me, and we were trying to, figure out the multiple murder. And then I had visions of the murder, which happened. It was a big room, big like bedroom, with a tent inside the bedroom, like a camping tent inside the bedroom, and the bodies were inside the camping tent. And we were like, oh man, look at this, look at that. And there was more than one body, and some of the bodies were children. It wasn't a nightmare, it was just nightmarish. like when you're not scared of anything, but the scene is very strong and very like heavy, like a murder scene. Murder scene, you're not in any danger in the moment you're in it. You're just seeing a murder, but the energy is very dense and very intense, and and I was actually uh, happy because I had a feeling that I knew who had done it or how it had happened, and what it was. It was some type of crime of passion by some dude that was in love with the people that he murdered inside of the tent, and he was a young dude, young blonde dude, and the people were like a woman and two children, I think, or something like that. I'm not too sure. But my sister was there saying to me, "Yeah, that that he did this and that." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It's like that." And she was filling in all the blanks for me to figure out, the murder. It could be that we have been playing Clue with Rousseau. We've been playing Clue like a couple of times, 3, 4 times a week. And so I'm into the murder mystery type of thing, right? Going on right now. It's like everything's a murder mystery and sleuth and Agatha Christie, Poirot, McLeod, Columbo, Kojak. So I mean, that could be it. That could be the detonator. But you never really know. I mean, when you do these type of things, when you dream, sometimes you just dream of shit that's happened or is going to happen. A lot of dreams I've had in life are actually about shit that happened in real life. There's real shit. The real thing. But it was not what I thought it was. It was something else. Like one in particular that I'm very clear on. When I went to Tampa Bay, to Clearwater, Florida, the public library there. I, I was homeless and I was hanging out outside of the public library, and I had, as a child, a number of dreams of that public library. Except it wasn't a library; it was an airport. It was some type of airport, and zombies, the living dead, were attacking the library, and I was one of the survivors of the zombie apocalypse that was going on in the library over there in Clearwater, the Clearwater Library. But it was exactly the same library. I mean, I remember it perfectly. This house, I dreamt of it a couple of times as a boat, especially the upstairs room, in a number of different situations. My room, I dreamt as a cabin in the middle of like uh, um, a field, a large field, and I dreamt of my niece, my nephew now, um, uh, as a little girl, exactly the way she was, dressed the way she was. So there was like, I've had a lot of prophetic dreams in my life. I've dreamt a lot of shit. And the Bible says, dreamers will dream. Will dream dreams. A lot of them are nightmares, but like last night, middle of a murder mystery. It was a dream. I dreamt it in some place in LA that I'm sure maybe it's not LA. Maybe it's New York or Boston or New Orleans. Maybe the apartment building that I saw in LA. Maybe it's not an apartment building in LA, and it was maybe not in Mid Wilshire. I mean, I remember Mid Wilshire vibe, but it could be Texas. It could be Paris or London or who the fuck knows. So yeah, so it's this vibe that you get. Not a single seed, man. These guys have been going to town on the seeds nowadays. You used to be able to get weed and find seeds all over the place, but smokers getting smart, man. They don't leave their seeds anymore. Yeah, yeah. So, so I collected 3 jars of mushrooms, of 1 liter jars. So I have 3 liters of mushrooms and honey, very diluted. They're not the strongest mushrooms. They're weak ass mushrooms, but they're still psilocybin mushrooms. So I can still make it happen if I want to at any moment in my fridge, and that's a good thing because that means that I can actually prepare spiritually, mentally, physically for a good journey. I've discovered through the years that spontaneous journeying, it's not the best way to go. The best way is always meditate, fast, prepare, and then when you're ready, you go full tilt boogie, like McKenna said. 500 grams inside a dark room with no lights and no noise on. And that's kind of the way we do it nowadays. And that includes all psychedelics, from the toad to ayahuasca to mushrooms. If you're going to do psychedelics, man, you better prepare for them, because otherwise you can. I've been very anxious to have a lot of datura plants outside. The woods is just full of datura. And I've been actually anxious to do another datura journey. I did a datura journey once with my mom. Almost killed my mom, by the way, in Tepoztlan decades ago. And it was really strung out and really strong and fucked up. And, it kind of like gives you a pause to do it again. But then, on the other hand of that datura trip, is that I did manage to release a lot of dark energy that was kind of clinging around my mom and I. And she benefited more than I did, I think, from it. She was more. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't sleep at all. She was like going on that cycle. And I was trying the haloperidol, and it was no longer working. So I said, well, we need stronger medicine. And we had some datura plants outside in the cabin where we were staying. And I said, Mom, it's time to do this. See what happens here. And man, she went down like a frick. And fortunately, she didn't die on me. That would have been a bad scene. But she did sleep. And she slept for like 3 days in a row. Like 3 days solid of sleep. So that was pretty fucking cool. And I actually, on that trip, now that I think about it, that was my mirror demon trip, which was freaky as hell. I was sitting in the kitchen watching my reflection on the kitchen mirror, which is a big mirror. And I see myself sitting behind myself, except that it wasn't me. It was a fucking demon from the deepest pits of hell with my face and body on. And I could sense the absolute evil of this doppelganger just sitting right there behind me. And I had read a lot about doppelgangers, and so I was not too spooked by it. I was a little prepared for it. I know that a lot of important personages have seen doppelgangers before, like John Dee saw a doppelganger, Queen Elizabeth saw a doppelganger. I mean, various people, especially the English. The English tend to see a lot of doppelgangers out there. And so I was not too spooked by it, but I was spooked out of my fucking brains. I mean, it was, like the devil uses my face. And that was my datura experience. So I'm very, very, very hesitant to do it again. But sometimes you have to go the extra step. You gotta go into that realm and see what you need to see. And obviously, evidently, I mean, my worst enemy would be myself. That's very clear to me now. Thanks to that journey, the thing that most scares me is myself. The thing that is going to give me the absolute biggest terror is what's inside of here. Is what's here. So that's a good thing to know. But it's not an easy thing to know. It's a thing that you once you know it, you can't not unknow it. You are bound by it. You is like you you do a binding into that type of energy, and you know who you have to face at the end of the road. You know who's going to come in for you, and it may surprise you. It may not. It may not. But it may surprise you. It surprised me. I know that. I was expecting my face full of hatred for myself in such a deep, profound manner. It's kind of like whoa. But here I am, and I'm still doing the work that needs to be done. My dharma, doing taking care of my dharma. My dharma is not to read the Bhagavad Gita. My dharma is not to, not to go to church, talk to the preacher, although I do occasionally. None of those things. My dharma is my dharma. My dharma is what I got to do. Like the Egyptians used to say, like when you go into the realm of, I think it's Thoth that measures the feather against the stone. You have a feather and you have a stone in your heart. And the feather represents the good things you've done. And the stone represents the bad things. And if they don't balance out, you are game out. You go into the mouth of a demon that is part crocodile, part hippopotamus, part jaguar. I mean, some really creepy crawly Egyptian style, and it'll just devour your soul. And that's it. That's the end of your game. That's as far as you got, mister. And in this case, peculiarly in this case, that demon had my face in the tutorial journey. But it was that thing that devours your soul. That thing that devours your soul at the end of time. And there's nothing but yourself to blame for all the evil that has befallen you and your loved ones throughout your life. Or whatever, burning your ego into infinity and further. The one of the let's say repeated and underlying themes in my journeys, my psychedelic journeys, has been the search for the other. And by the other, I mean that which is not me, that which is beyond me, that which is, but it's part of me. It's like family, friends are the other, but also flies, cockroaches, rats, cats, octopi in the oceans, trees in the forest. Those things that are alive and that are conscious and aware of themselves and of others, but are not you. And it's been one of my deep underlying themes in all my literature and all my journeys and all my investigations into all my research into consciousness. Because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do with these psychedelics is to awaken your consciousness, to become more aware, not less aware. Many psychedelic journey psychonauts have mentioned that their journeys seem more real than their reality. I just saw a video about that, by the way. I forget what it was. I'll try to. Well, this the next video I'll try to. Let me write it down. So if I don't write it down, you guys will never know what video I'm talking about. So let me just write down to make a video. Make a video about the video of the perfume guy. There's a perfume maker who makes videos about psychedelics and tripping and all that stuff. And he was talking about another video that he saw. Most obtuse reference in history. That explained that the reason that psychedelic journeys seem more real than reality is because they're so extreme, and that reality is measured in the extremeness of the situation. So I'll explain. A car accident, a child's birth, marriage is a lot more important to your reality than watching The Simpsons on TV. So it's a lot more real. So when you marry somebody and you're in the church and you're exchanging vows and everything, you are in a much more real situation than when you're just watching The Simpsons on a chilling out in your lazy boy couch, smoking a joint. So then what happens with psychedelics, especially strong psychedelics like high dose of mushrooms or DMT particularly, is that you experience something so extreme that it seems a lot more real than the ordinary reality of everyday blase existence. Kind of makes sense to me. I mean, I can definitely relate to that. And I can remember moments in my life like accidents and shit that was very intense, where there was blood and guts and weirdness around me, going to jail, shit like that, where it was a lot more real than what I'm doing right now. Well, right now I'm smoking a joint and I'm got my little blue hat on, and it's real. It's very real to me. But the essence of the reality was a lot stronger when the emotions are stronger. So it's like when you say, you're right before an accident, time slows down, and you can see every little inch of what's going on. Psychedelics do that to you. So obviously, evidently, in that case, your reality is going to be more real. You're going to feel it stronger somehow because you're going through it. You're going through this intense emotional, even physical stress. Stress was the key word. The amount of stress determines how real something seems to you. So psychedelics definitely cause stress. And if you say they don't, you haven't tried psychedelics. All right? If you say, I just chill out with mushrooms, no, you don't, motherfucker. You fucking trip balls. You fucking see little green men running around your friggin' patio. You see your Mothman and Bigfoot and, don't give me bullshit that, I use it, to chill out. No, you don't. I don't even use weed to chill out. I mean, I chill out on weed, sure, but I don't use it to chill out. I don't smoke it that often. If I smoked it more often, it would definitely chill me out, but I smoke weed so that I can see shit from a different perspective than I always see it when I'm not smoking weed. I'm going to roll all the joints, see how many joints we have. So here's my rolling papers. I got a whole bunch of rolling papers and shit from a supplier, and I owe him 4,000 pesos, which is roughly what, a couple of $100. I haven't paid him back because I haven't had the money, but also because I haven't been back to Mexico City, but I do want to pay him back. If you're watching this, kudos. Valmiki. No, Valmiki. Krishnadas. Kudos, Krishnadas. What was it? Monico? Is it Krishnadas or Monico that I owe the money to? So long that I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure they're cool with it because I've owed them a lot of money for a long time, and I paid them, and then they gave me credit again. So I know we're cool, but here's shout out to you guys. Anyways, isn't that weird when you get paid? Right away, your dealer calls you. Hey, you need any weed? It's like, yeah, man. How'd you know? I always wonder about those type of things. But I'm the murder mystery type of guy, so I have a perverted mind. I always think the worst of people, and have actually saved myself many times because of that. Thank God. So it's not a bad thing to think the worst of people, especially if you live in Mexico in the year 2023. But then you can expect the best. Expect the best, think the worst. Or expect the worst and get the best. I don't know how it works. Anyways, guys, what am I trying to say here? What are we talking about? We're talking about nothing in particular. We're just smoking a joint together, chilling out, having a lazy Wednesday. Wednesday is the witches' Sabbath. And Wednesday is when the witches have their Sabbath, their sacred day. It has to do with Odin, with Wotan. It's his day, so the witches celebrate Wotan Day. The Druids, the witches, same thing. And yeah, so we're celebrating Wotan Day today. And also, it's a new moon today, so it's not bad that I get to smoke on a new moon. A good time to smoke is always, full moon, new moon, crescent moon. It's you observe, you use your psychedelics. And weed is a psychedelic. Whoever says that weed is not a psychedelic, they're full of shit. Use your psychedelics to observe moments that are of importance or that are not ordinary moments. Ordinary moment every day. Important moment, a full moon. Freaking wolves howl at the full moon. Why do they do that? Because they know some shit, They know shit. Say hi to Ramira, who's here sleeping on my side. Hola, Ramira. Micha. Speaking of wolves, my wolf cat. So that's kind of the trip, guys. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to expand consciousness, go deeper into the other day. Somebody posted a DMT thread on 4chan and on Poll, which is, to me, extremely important. Because if there has been something that has detained mankind from expanding consciousness, it has been politics. I mean, thousands of years, mankind has been exploring consciousness until certain minority sect appeared in Rome, particularly in Rome, around 312 AD, with a sacred book. And they figured, oh my God, we got to get all the witches and warlocks and take over their business. And they've been hunting us ever since. And they're very powerful. They have a lot of means to hunt us down. So we are always hunted by the enemy of consciousness, which is lie, false religion, the evil that causes people to congregate under a false religious doctrine to take benefit and to take advantage economically and socially and in many other ways of people that are just trying to live their lives. I think spirituality is something you do on your own. You don't wait for somebody to tell you who to pray to, because they don't know. And you don't know. And if somebody thinks they know, somebody says to you, And this is the ultimate truth, the only truth. They are probably full of shit. Maybe you find somebody that does have the ultimate truth, it could happen. But mostly, they're just dealers dealing in the opium of the masses. And those that say that there is no such thing as spirituality and religion should try some opium, or at least some ayahuasca. Because once you actually get knocked off, once you take some fucking drug that knocks the fuck out of you deep enough that you see little birds flying, or you see stars, you're seeing stars. You're not your body. That's what I said in the thread, and I'll repeat it for a million times. Christians do a lot of LARPing about being born again. You got to be born again in Jesus. Okay, fine. But you take a little bit of toad venom, you light it, goes into your brain, shuts down your brain, or shuts down whatever the fuck it shuts down, and you're just catapulted out of your fracking body into a fracking space that is no longer time or space, but just consciousness. You are dead. And if you're lucky, and your shaman or dealer or whatever the fuck guy is giving you the toad venom did his job right, you don't stay dead. You come back. That's called being born again. That's really being born again. People that don't know that, don't know that. I know that. And a handful of people know that. All right? A handful of people understand it. A handful of people know it. A handful of people do it. And not always with good intentions. I've actually met dark wizards in my life. I've met dark shamans. I've met, the dark side of the force. But at that level of awareness, there is no dark and light. It's just living and dead. Be intricately inseparable. You cannot separate the darkness from the light and the light from... ¡Pase, pase! ¡Adelante! ¿Es fresco? Ah, perfecto. ¿Dónde lo pongo? Aquí en la escalera. Aquí dentro. Pregunta, ¿le debo algo? Porque había un asunto del peso del pollo. No. Okay. ¿Lo checamos? No, está bien, tiene todo el tiempo. Sí. Queríamos. ¿Verdad? Está bien. Chelita siempre ayuda. Ya con el pollo. Y muchísimas gracias. Sí, claro. Miau. Aquí. Aquí. Ok. Gracias. Con permiso. I guess the toad spirits wanted me to finish the video because our crime victim has arrived. And now we get to eat the crime victim, so that's pretty fucking cool. 40 minutes, not too bad. Guys, 420, happy birthday, whatever. If you haven't done it yet, do it. If you haven't done it, don't talk about it because you don't know. Love you.